in the cabbage.
Well, let's get it.
Test.
Yeah, we're live.
Welcome to In the Cabbage. This is crazy.
This is pretty bananas right now that we're actually doing this.
I'm Tommy Swain, Andrew Witt. Please subscribe, please listen, please download, like. And just a reminder, keep swinging. Heyo, welcome back to In the Cabbage. I'm your boy T Swain. To my right or your left, Andrew Witt.
What up?
What up, y'all? No spider this time. No spider this time.
Yeah, dude. That was a little curveball to start our evening off, huh?
Yeah, I just had to step in and wear the pants and make sure I killed that spider for you because I realized you didn't want to kill it.
Thanks for really rectifying, the cozy corner over here.
Right.
It's going to remain that way and forever and always, and there's going to be no intruders ever.
Right. I'm the first line of defense for us. Buddy.
It's that in the candle over there,
Oh, that candle. It just smells so bomb. I don't know what it is. I am just a huge candle guy.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the podcast before, but it's just such a... If you want to give me a present, just give me a really bomb, organic, nice candle.
Yeah. And it's a I feel like it's a very thoughtful gift.
Yeah.
And it's something that can just kind of really liven up the living room and bring you to a state where you can fully relax. And I don't know, it's just really nice.
Brings better vibes. I need some better vibes today. I actually had an incident, buddy, today. A little bit in the cabbage for you here. I'm not going to go into
I love it.
Full detail.
I love it. We've been diving in a little bit of into the cabbage stuff more recently, and so let's hear about it, dude.
I came across today a friend of mine who had an incident, a health issue, and I kind of witnessed it and had to help out with it, and found myself very inept in the moment.
It's such a big word, big dog. Okay.
I know, out of nowhere. And I think it jarred me, which I don't want to sound selfish, like he obviously is taking the brunt of it and is okay now, but witnessing it and being a part of this situation really had no sort of way of helping this person besides like just doing the bare minimum.
Like maybe let's call 911. Let's maybe make sure like he's maybe in a safe condition where he's not harming himself.
Right. Checking his pulse. But that's about all I got for him. I could make a mean water. I can grab an ice pack. But it kind of just woke me up to like, one, how fragile life truly is. 1 minute you can be like fully coherent, enjoying something, and the next minute you're like, could be gone or your life has changed forever.
Did you want to disclose the age of this person?
Yeah, he's younger.
Or
he's around my age.
Yeah.
So it's not someone who's like 55 or 60.
Right. I feel like that's an important thing to kind of throw in the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, and he's an extremely healthy, nice man. Nothing like I would say that in his lifestyle that would cause something like this to happen. Of course, I'm being very, aloof with the details here. Just trying to, protect people's privacies. But it was, it sucked in all aspects. It really, really, truly did. It sucked for him and it sucked for me. Just because, I just like, if something could have gone worse, I had no way of helping him. And that really bummed me out because I couldn't help. Sure. Besides just like, being there for somebody genuinely, like I don't know that well.
Sure. Like
I see him twice a week. Like we talk every day. But we're not like, it's not like my friend who I've known for years. Like this is just somebody new. So going through that with somebody that you don't really know super well is also a very strange thing because now you're kind of bonded by some sort of traumatic event. And it's great, I'm happy to help him and happy to be there for him. But it's just, it was just, rough for me as a person to not, deprive myself on helping people.
Sure.
And being a rock for somebody when they're being aloof and they're, struggling, or when they have health concerns, and there was
you just very much like to be someone like, I want to be open with you.
Right.
Let's sit down and chat. Even if you're struggling about something, whether it's super minute, or it's something that's, it's a physical appearance, it's the way you think about things, whatever it may be, relationships, you always, I think that's a good characteristic for anyone to have, but I think you're really good at making that effort towards people, and especially if you're going to be a reoccurring person
in their life,
in your daily life.
And
right?
I also like sharing. I also like telling somebody what I'm possibly going through.
Yeah.
Whether it's relationship stuff or
the
personal.
door's open here,
Right. And I hopefully that jars them to talk to me and be a bit more descriptive. But even just for people's health issues, if they're struggling, I love to be there for them. And it's just showed me today how like fleeting life is, and how you really just can't assume that everything's going to be great, or, like, oh, I have time to do this, or there's going to be, plenty of this or that. Like, yeah, there's a lot of time for you to figure things out, but like making small steps towards that goal instead of realizing the full picture, I think helps myself out a lot.
Yeah.
I get bogged down by a full picture. Like, for example, losing weight, like losing whatever amount of weight, 80 pounds for me seems like a huge hill. But like losing 2 pounds a week or 2 pounds every 2 weeks seems more realistic than it does not. But, I don't know. Have you ever been in a situation where, you felt like you didn't have the tools or the understanding?
Well, yeah, of course. But I feel like just speaking from experience, I haven't really had anything where it's life-threatening or anything like that,
Yeah.
I'm sure like plenty of instances for yourself, and you can name, I'm sure you can name a few, but I feel like I went through that a lot when I was coaching, quite a bit.
Right.
Not necessarily to say that I don't have the correct answer, but maybe it's not the answer that they want to hear, and you got to be the bad person. And then maybe you're kind of just like, as a head coach or as the director when I was doing all that stuff, and you kind of you don't have anyone to like give you any feedback afterwards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's very, I just lost so much sleep over it. And that was one of the reasons why. I mean, loved coaching, loved everything that it did for me. For example, I was able to like, become way more personable, I feel like, way more approachable and external, being more comfortable talking in front of people, talking in front of just like 4 or 5 people, because there was a time in my life where I didn't even really like talk in front of my friends like that much, of like, 3, 4, 5 people. Mm-hmm. It just would freak me out. I'd still get a little bit like that. I don't like to be the center of attention in like a bigger-ish room, and like telling a full-on story. Like I got 10 people like listening to me. That's not me. But certainly have grown from that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just there's a lot of times where you don't get a lot of feedback, and you feel a little helpless in that moment, because you just like are rattling your brain after you're going back and you're coaching, and they're 15, 14, 17 years old, and you might be talking about volleyball, or you might be talking about life, or
right.
How they go about approaching obstacles and like achieving them. And when I look back in my life when I was growing up, I feel like a lot of my coaches tended to be some of the people that I looked up to most at times,
Yeah.
And I felt like I was bearing that weight a lot. And it was a great weight to bear, because in a sense you do have that power, right, to like change people's lives. But like, are you doing it correctly? And are you doing it the right way? Or are you reaching just half of the kids that you're coaching? Or are you reaching everyone, or just like a couple? And so, not necessarily to circle back and go in full circle here, never have felt helpless in that moment where it's someone's potentially life on the line of that sort. But it definitely, I felt that when I was coaching quite a bit, and then also talking with parents and, how they're going about school and discipline. And it's just, I feel like it taught me a lot of things to like grow, and then how to like approach my like a philosophy, and like sticking by that philosophy. Like, year one, when I was a head coach, had no idea what I was doing really, because I've never really treaded those waters before. So by year like 3, when I was doing it, I felt like I had like something really dialed in, and I knew what to expect. I knew how to I knew how to diffuse a situation without it ever arising. Do you know what I mean? Like I knew I was always like 3 or 4 steps ahead of like all of the possibilities.
Right.
I'm not getting playing time. I'm not happy. You're pushing too hard. You're not pushing hard enough. You're not doing enough check-ins with like every single player. And so like you kind of learn how to manage all of that. So I think just like anything else, it comes with like a little bit of experience and a choice, and to be like a little bit of, I would say just cognizant of like your decision making and like kind of figuring out what works, what doesn't. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like, you know, based off of what you're telling me today, it's like you're going to be looking up something, how to help people's lives in a dire situation.
Yeah, like I'm going to go like learn CPR now and take some classes, because I don't ever want to be in a situation again where like I can't help.
God forbid something goes and turns for the worst.
Right.
And you're one of like 2, 3 people that are there.
That was what happened. Things went bad. And we looked, and it's so funny. It happens, and you look around, and you realize there's just you and one other dude, and you're just 2 dudes. You have no sort of special training. You have no way of handling a situation, and you almost look for an adult. That's what it felt like. I got up, and I was like, "Who's gonna help us?" Oh, like, shit! Oh. No one's helping us. I'm helping us. Like right. I'm the me and this other guy have to step in here. Have to drive this car together.
Yeah.
And it's teamwork, and immediately roles are being picked up, and you both are helping each other, and there's just one common goal, and everything else just kind of fades away. And I mean, shout out to people who deal with stuff like this every day.
Dude, people that are like Caitlin's over there was doing ER.
I have families, people who are doing nursing. I was rocked from once this incident happened to today,
you're
to
ready
this moment.
You're ready to phone in the day. You're like, I'm done.
I'm good. And they have to, and people just have to like shake that off and pretend like it didn't happen and go to the next person. I don't get it. Yeah. Like I'm not that person. I don't have that in me to just do that. Also funny, and coaching, the worst part of coaching, I would say probably for you is the parents.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, of course it's the parents.
I just don't understand, because I'm not a parent, right? Like I have a dog.
Sure.
And I know
we can make a really loose translation here.
I know my dog's faults.
Yes.
And I'm very aware of my dog's faults. I'm not going to bring my dog to a training camp on good dog behavior and them tell me something like Hendrix has a hard time playing with other dogs. And me going like, you're wrong. You just aren't doing it right. Like, no, I know he does. That's why like he's here.
Right.
You're supposed to coach him and make him better. And if the coach is doing the job for the most part, like, hey, are you getting reps at practice? Hey, are you like trying? Mm-hmm. Like that was a common question of my family with me. It'd be like, oh, I'm not playing. Well, it's like, well, are you trying?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm trying. No.
Are you really diving in, having like,
right,
showing at the practice 15, 20 early, getting warmed up, staying after, whatever, weights, doing the extra work that would maybe help you get that playing time.
Right. And I didn't even think about that in high school. Like I thought practice is what everyone did, and people were just naturally better than me, or they just like had better coaching, or they're just more talented. I didn't really even think that like maybe if I shot 30 minutes, 40 minutes before practice,
it would make a huge difference.
And then weightlifted afterwards, even though there was not a scheduled weightlifting time.
Sure.
And maybe like ran like 10 extra suicides at the end of practice, that would have added up to me probably being a way better basketball player. I just, back to like the parent thing, I just don't understand how you see Billy and you go, Billy clearly has no vertical leap. What can we do to make Billy a better volleyball player? And it's like, well, There's a reason why he's not playing on it right now is because he can't jump and he wants to be an outside hitter and he has to jump the most on the team.
Right.
But Billy's great at passing.
Let's make him libero.
Right, but Billy doesn't want to be a libero. It's like, well I don't know what to tell
know.
you.
Then he's going to be, ride the bench as outside then. I that was one of the most frustrating things. And to combat that a lot, because I would get that a ton, I would make an effort. And this is something I think that I'm sure it's going on now, more so than ever because of this, I feel like there's a lot more information out there and accessible for everyone. But if you have a good coach, I feel like a coach will always go out of their way to, even though it might not be the best thing for you, if you want to go and do it, then it's also like it's up to you. It's their decision. It's different for a club versus high school, I feel like, right? If you're paying for the service, which club is, and they want to do something and, they already, let's say we're talking about Billy still. He's the fourth outside and there's 1.5 liberos, right? You just carry one libero. Well, it's like, okay, well, can you just be the fourth outside and you're going to get all the reps, but then we can also have you back the libero should anything happen to, the starting libero. And also you can have full capabilities of doing everything as an outsider. You'll train, you'll do all of that. It's very translational. I'll just have you do a couple of drills here and there. So if push comes to shove, we can put you at libero. But here's what I'm going to do. And here's all your traits and physical attributes that you can actually help yourself out in. This is what I need you to get better at. You need to be able to become more athletic. You need to work harder. If you're like not the most athletically gifted, what else can you bring to the table? And I would ask the question to the kid.
I think that's great. I never had a coach ask me that once.
And so I would have a ton of, not a ton of check-ins. I would make sure once every couple months, it'd be like I'd pull a guy off to the side. I'd pull a couple guys off to the side every once in a while. And I'd say, hey, come into practice 10 minutes early. I want to have a quick check-in with you. Hey, say 10, 15 minutes after practice, I'm going to have a quick meeting with you. And I'll kind of just do that randomly with everyone every once in a while.
Yeah.
There's some we have to pay a little bit more attention to, of course. But that's something that I think maybe that's something that you could have benefited from. I'd certainly never really had anything like that when I was growing up either.
Yeah, I think I would have been a huge benefit for me because I think I would have been able to also convince the coach of my natural abilities.
Sure. And then, of course, then the coach is going to say, great, then show me.
Right.
And then if you can prove it day in and day out, and if you can beat out the other person, we have stats. And if you're putting out better stats and the team gels better with you and, you can list off all the reasons and you're doing the intangible stuff. Maybe you can't jump. Maybe Billy can't jump 37 inches. But maybe he's able to bring all the fire, communication. There's no lapses in any sort of game plan. He doesn't make any dumb mistakes. When he gets a bad set, he makes a smart swing, recycles it, whatever. You're able to put those guidelines around a player and how they can mold and work towards a more position and trust.
Right.
And so I think that's how you can kind of combat it a little bit because, yeah, the parents sometimes have an irrational thought, but it's laying out. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that we were able to keep stats. And so that's very black and white. That's very easy.
Yeah. I never had stats growing up. Like, I bet
that's
you
huge.
If we were playing basketball back in the day and we went plus minus stats,
that's huge.
I guarantee you my plus would have been way higher than my minus.
Exactly.
Like,
that's huge.
And I would have seen, whatever. X person, has a plus 250 or whatever, and you're in the game, we have a minus 105. Like, okay, clearly I'm a detriment. Why do you think that is? And it's like, you can, your speed is okay for a center, but you can't maintain it at all. Like, you can't go 8 minutes, 9 minutes of jogging. Like, I need you to not get faster because that was always what I thought I'd do. Get faster, go faster, run more. It's like, okay, well, you look at Jokic and the man's can't run a lick, but he can do it all day long.
Yeah. He played 44 minutes tonight or whatever.
And you never saw him walking back really. He also learned little tricks that I thought was great when he wouldn't rebound for offensive free throws. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
He goes back on the whole other end and just waits.
Yeah.
And like, that's great. That's one less lap of jogging for a big man.
For sure.
And like, what's really the
less than a 1% chance you get an offensive board.
Right.
And sure, if it's crunch time, get your ass down there. Yeah.
But I just thought, also a tip that I liked from a coach was that never have your parents bring up your issue. You bring it up to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's huge because one, or have a kid comes up to you, Billy goes up to his parents and says, Andrew, my coach really sucks. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's
sure. No, let's play this role.
Right. He doesn't play me. I'm clearly the best outside. I don't want to play club volleyball anymore. I hate it. Well, those parents are paying for a service and their kid hates it, so they're wasting money, and the Billy is upset now. So naturally, they're going to be like, well, F Andrew, I'm going to contact him. What the parents should do, be like, okay, I understand what you're saying. I want you to go talk to Andrew.
See, we had rules in place.
Right.
Where it was at a certain age, if you're whatever, it's 16 years old and above, you can't really have the parents there.
Right.
And it's a coach to player situation going on. Yeah, okay, after 13 years old, the player still has to be there though.
Right.
And he or she is driving the conversation. Parents are also listening how this is all going down because I agree, there's like a buffer that's going on.
Right.
And the middleman is the kid. And if the player, Billy, is not happy about a situation, but maybe the coach is doing everything that he says is that, he's doing everything well. He's putting in all the extra time. He's doing all this stuff to help Billy. But then Billy is saying, I'm still not getting any playing time. Coach just has it out for me.
Right.
There's that buffer in there. It's like, okay, we got to cut out the middleman here. We got to get right to the source.
Right. And then maybe they get some playing time in. Billy gets in. He makes one mistake, and the coach yanks him. Well, what happens is they don't see is that Billy isn't putting extra time in reps. He consistently makes that mistake,
sure.
And coaches warned him if he makes that mistake during a game, he's just going to yank him. And Billy's not translating that. So if you're a parent as well, I think you should have your kid it's good conflict training for a kid too, to like actually have your being assessed as, something needing improvement instead of it being like whitewashed for your parents to handle it, which I always thought was huge.
And if any coach actually denies a player from having that one-on-one conversation, then I feel like, it's a loss in both sense. Because there are things that coaches can learn from players. And I feel like maybe that happens more as you get older and you start formulating a lot more clear thoughts. And, if you're like doing that, let's say you're doing it in college, right? And, day in and day out, you're practicing and doing, and you're putting in all the effort and then you're doing all this stuff and then you're still not getting a look. Then it's like, hey, coach, what am I missing here? Because I feel like I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I feel like I'm doing everything that you're telling me to. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the stats. The stats say I'm like the second best power on the passer on the team.
And also I'm like, I'm right there. Like everyone gels with me well. Like, what's going on? And maybe that sheds a little bit of light for the coach's eyes too. Maybe it's something that maybe they didn't think that maybe they don't see everything that's going on. Maybe they don't see, that you're actually putting in all of that work or that it really matters that much or, there's tons of reasons out there. And so I feel like the more that you can get, just like any relationship, right? Get in there and just get real. Just have a quick conversation.
Yeah. And just don't take it as,
when someone gives you criticism, is that where you're going?
Yeah, like if someone gives you real criticism, I think there's two ways to look at it. When you receive criticism, one, you need to see who you're receiving it from. If you're receiving it from a person who doesn't matter in your life, don't take it to heart. I've learned that recently, that criticism from somebody who doesn't matter is just words. Like, don't listen to somebody who has no idea.
It's a really fair point.
What they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like if, your brother's talking criticism about your volleyball game, but has never played like a volleyball in his life, like his opinion on volleyball does not matter.
Sure.
And about your game. So always assess where the criticism is coming from a coach, from your boss, from your friends who you consider like family, or some parents. Assess where the criticism is coming from, and also if the criticism is actually constructive. It's not you suck at passing. Okay, you go with your one-on-one. It's like, I see that your passing is struggling coming from the opposite side of the court. Why is that? And it's like, well, I can never see the ball because I'm the blockers or whatever. It's like, well, okay, so that's a position issue. You're in the wrong slot.
Sure.
You have to be more over the top of the blocker. You might have to look to the left. You can't just look at the ball straight on because you're too small. So you got to look to your left or whatever. I am just talking out my ass, but...
No, it's fine. You can also put it in basketball terms as well.
Right. Like,
what if you feel more comfortable going that route?
I'm not seeing the court because of, whatever. I'm not reading the defense properly. It's like, well, you can't shoot a mid-range jumper, and every high school team we play in our division runs a 2-3 zone on you.
That's right. Let's work on expanding the range a little bit. Let's work on a couple of driving and kicking where the help is coming from.
Your passing's great, but when you catch the ball on the free throw line, when we can start breaking down the press, you freeze. Like they're giving you a mid-range jumper, and you're either not talented or quick enough to take it to the hole, so that mid-range jumper needs to be your weapon.
Sure.
Or whatever. But, just a little...
I like that. I have never really thought about it like that. And then also, I think maybe something to add that maybe I'm just going to throw it on out there is listen to the criticism after there's no more emotions in a situation. If you're getting criticism in a highly emotional situation...
Not going to happen. Right.
That's maybe not a good time to take it to heart, right?
Right.
You get heated in a situation, argument, during a match, during a game. Maybe that's not the greatest time to take the criticism actually to heart because you're still competing or you're still working on something that's going on, that's tangible in the moment. Maybe we can reassess afterwards and then have a debrief,
Yeah, I think that's another good point is, you're going to be emotional when someone says you're not doing something correctly.
And the other person that's giving the criticism is going to be emotional. So that might be irrational as well.
Right. So you just need to let the heat die off and then maybe have a conversation afterwards.
Sure. No, I like it.
A lot of constructive criticism I can do on myself is some golf we had after this weekend.
Oof. Let's dive right into that, dude. You played a little Ukaipa tournament this Saturday.
Yeah, I did. I'm officially, if people don't know, I'm officially under a swing change.
Yeah, I love. Let's put it out there. Let's throw it in the atmosphere. Let's stamp it on this date. You know, I think this Saturday was really the first time you were like, I'm gonna play some golf. I'm gonna try a new swing thought that's going on.
Theory. I practice the swing a lot. I need to go to the range and do it more. When you're not going to the range and you're not doing certain things with practice, like swing changes, like you said, are very long and strenuous because you're not able to put those reps in.
Sure. So let's try to spell it out for the people in a quick little outline here. What are you trying to do?
I stand up when I impact the ball, so I extend upwards. Right. I fully extend my arms, and I almost get on my tippy toes to hit the golf ball. And what that does is, one, I lose a lot of distance. I lose all my power in my lower legs, and ends up creating a huge slicer cut.
Yeah, which
is inconsistent. I've learned how to play with it. And if I'm really standing up on shots, I'm really struggling with it.
And I feel like also you struggle to catch a strike every once in a while as
well.
Really
pure one. And the main issue with it is distance.
Yeah. And it's not like you're a short hitter by any means, because you would drive it on average, let's call it, if you're driving the ball really well, you're 260 on average, 270 on average.
Driving it well, yeah, like 270.
Yeah, really well on average.
Really well. But I'm usually finding the middle of the fairway. It was a consistent swing for me, but I hit the peak with it. I wasn't going to progress. So what I am trying to do now is when I'm making impact, I'm trying to explode through the ball by rotating my hip outward and hitting down on it and lifting up after impact and fully rotating my bottom half through the golf swing.
You're trying to get that belt buckle going a little bit more towards the target instead of towards the golf ball. Mm-hmm. Right. And you're trying to
hold my hands off.
Yeah. And also get that right shoulder dip going down to the golf ball. It's a really, really hard change because you're, in theory, making like probably like a 40 or 50 degree turn in a span of like, you know, a split second, you need to like change a lot.
Yeah, and it's you know, and I'm not like fully thinking about it when I'm playing golf, but I've been practicing it so much. I think it's just happening, and I know I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, because there was a couple of iron shots that you hit on Sunday where I saw a little glimpse of it. I was like, oh, dude, you just flew the green. I cannot remember. I mean, you took a little bit too much club for that par 3, but you also just yeeted that thing over the green. You hit a 6-iron like 185, I think.
Yeah, which is like pretty far from me.
That's big.
Yeah, that's like normally I get a 6-iron like 180-ish.
On a really good swing.
Right.
It's kind of like you like to go feathery 175. It's kind of like your 6-iron.
Yeah, so I'll light everything up, which then also causes its own problems, which makes you more handsy as a player.
And I think a lot of it, too, is you're just kind of banking on just, like, not hitting it really flush as well. And, like, if you flush one, you're like, damn, okay, well, I just, like, totally missed my yardage.
You blew past it. But, yeah, so I played Ukaipa. I shot an 87.
Yeah.
I played well.
Solid, dude.
Yeah, I played well. Ukaipa is a super easy track, so, like, mid to low 80s is good. Ooh, sorry.
Yeah,
and
but you know, you got to throw your handicap in there as well. So, like, is it a par 72 course?
Yes.
Or 71?
It's 72.
Okay. So,
72,
you know,
like 6,500 yards.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not the most difficult course in the world, but it's fun.
You would see a year ago now, dude, you would be killing for breaking 90 a lot.
Yeah, Ukaipa, I should break 90 almost every time.
A year ago, though, you were struggling to break 90.
Yeah.
Ever, really.
That is true. I also had two tweets out there.
Love that.
So I had a little two birdies that helped me out with a couple of doubles I had.
That's huge.
Basically just bogey golf throughout, a couple pars, a couple birdies. Played pretty well. Had some really great wedges. Driver was cooking. It was more piercing, the fly of the drive, less loopy, and I hit, for the listeners, I hit my ball all the way to Denver. I hit
it goes up to the moon.
It is just so high, and if there's any sort of wind, the ball's gone. But the real round is when we played together on our men's club this weekend.
That was fun. That was a good little time because we actually, I'm glad you said something because it was the senior championship for our Mile Square tournament.
Obviously, we're not seniors.
That's not us. We were a little bit bummed because obviously we like playing some competitive golf and we'd only get tournaments once a month.
Right.
You know, and so we actually had a free weekend that like, oh my God, we don't have anything going on. This would be a great time to just get around. But it's the senior open championship, whatever they call it at the club. So I'm glad you reached out to the board and we're like, hey, like, can we just at least do like, reserve some tee times, maybe make it an individual tournament, something along those lines so we can get out there and play. And they luckily created like, I don't know what it was, probably like an hour's worth of tee times of guys that you can like show up and play. And
yeah, not many people signed up for our separate tournament just because it was kind of not promoted well. It wasn't on the tournament.
It was last second.
Very last second. But
I'm glad we got to play though because we
was
were
good
not
practice.
Yeah, we were not part of the tournament, so we were able to do a nice little skins match, play some dots.
Super fun.
Really fun, where it wasn't match play, so skins, so we would actually we had some carryover holes, and then dots out there. I thought we played some really fun ones. If you ever want to do a fun game that's very random, that rewards some janky play every once in a while, but also rewards good plays, because there's a million little different ways to score dots, right? That's what it's called, right?
Like dots. So basically it's, for example, getting in a bunker and getting up and down from a bunker, it's called a sandy. Hitting a tree and making a par, barky. Going into the water.
some of these names are all time.
Right, going in the water and still making par, sharky. If you hit a really bad drive and you still make par, you can call them the shankies.
Right, you're playing from the other fairway.
Right, and that's not fair because you live in the shankies.
I do. Except this past weekend, though, dude.
Yeah,
there's also some very applicable ones too. Green and reg. If you hit a fairway, if you're first on the green, longest putt made. You could basically make up just about anything that you want to do.
Right, just Google different scenario of dots and golf, and you'll find a bunch. But you're also under a swing change, buddy. And I think you might have found some this weekend.
I think I might have, and thank God for my back being just like 92 years old this weekend, because I was hurting and I needed to do something. And obviously you can't back out of the tournament. I was a little bit bummed, like I already paid for it. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to do some rehab and just make this thing work. And I just, the back just goes when it wants to. It's just, it comes and goes. I don't know what the dealio is with it, but I got to take care of it more than the rest of everyone, it seems like. But,
you really do, which is gotta be infuriating.
It's a little, and I did fall out of like my routine for like 2 weeks of like really kind of like stretching, rolling out, like doing all my hip mobility and shit. And that's probably why, because I like went and like did some stuff at my aunt's house and like, picking up a couple of things, doing a couple like bending over things, and it just like sent my back into a frenzy. So like, I fell out of it. So I'm getting back into it and the back's feeling better. But long story short here, I think I kind of found something this weekend, and it's almost in a weird way. I'm been working on a swing change for a long time, and it's something that's something that you are now like approaching into a little bit more, like getting that right shoulder down, getting that that belt buckle facing the target a little bit more, rotating more, staying down on it, compressing the golf ball a little bit more, holding off angles, trying to get less flippy at the bottom.
Right.
And my little swing thought was, I'm just gonna sit my butt into a chair is my feeling. Right. And then push my weight to my left side at the top of my backswing, and then just rotate and stand up. And like it worked really well. Like I've never hit the golf ball so straight and like
far
online. And it did not sacrifice any distance at all.
No, if anything, maybe like 5 yards. I would maybe.
Which is exactly what I need. Like I don't need any, like sure, distance is great, but like we're not going out there and playing 7,400 yards, par 70, like the PGA Championship this past weekend at Oak Hill. I don't need that yards. We're going out and playing 6,700, 68, 7,000 is like really long.
Right.
But like, I just need to be able to hit a 7-iron inbounds. I cannot hit a 7-iron out of bounds, which I do sometimes.
Right.
I will yank a 7-iron straight out of bounds, and it is the most demoralizing thing.
After you hit like a 310 drive.
It's terrible. So the consistency of the game needs to get better, and I feel like this little swing thought, I got to keep pressing onwards with it. I definitely want to keep trying with it because I might have found something there. I felt like I was in a good position. My curvature was way down because usually I play like some big slinging draws every once in a while when it gets really out of control, and then my start line is 50 yards right. And if it doesn't come over and, if it doesn't turn over, then I'm just in the boonies, just way away. So I felt like I really was onto something. I drove the ball great. I only lost one drive all day. And usually I lose tons,
right?
Or I was never really in the trees. I was never really like, I was like in the rough, but I was never like in trouble off the tee very often.
Yeah, you weren't like under, under like 40 trees that you would try like hit a huge hook out of.
So I feel like that in itself is like hitting a fairway for me. Like if I don't have to deal with any tree trouble and the rough's not too bad, that's like hitting a fairway for me.
For sure.
That's great because then I'm down there and I got wedge in. It doesn't even matter really.
No, not at all.
I'm hitting out of light rough.
And also the most impressive part of it was your wedge game was on too.
Yeah, dude, that's been really fun. Ever since I was convinced by you to bring in that new wedge into the bag and bend a couple of degrees, so now I got 5 wedges in the bag. I found out that I was really good. And if anyone's looking into a little bit more of their wedge game, wants to get a little bit more control, this is something that I really struggle with when I take big full swings and I'll end up blocking, or I end up just blocking it out there. Or sometimes it overdraws. But this is like a nice 3/4, very compact, take it back, almost like a ROM height backswing. Mm-hmm. And just make sure I'm just like pretty much, not full go, but a good solid acceleration with my lob wedge. And that's 85 yards. Typically that goes like a 105 would be like my max, 110. Yeah. If I'm really maxing out, if that kind of gauges where we're talking about here. And you can do that swing, as what I found out, with just about any of your clubs, but you could really do it with up to like a 5-iron probably, but that wouldn't be very successful. Wouldn't get in the air very well.
Right.
So you can apply that to just about any of my wedges. And so I started doing that, and I found myself, 110 out. And so instead of pulling a 55-degree sand wedge, I would pull my 50-degree gap wedge and do my little bit of like a 3/4 stock swing that I would do like 85 yards my lob wedge, and do just like pin high to 15 feet left.
Right.
5 feet long, 10 feet to the right. So I got like, I don't know how many birdie lucks I had. I had a good like probably 6-7 birdie lucks. Birdie lucks.
You shot an 81, I believe.
I did shoot an 81.
But it was really comfortable 81. It was the most comfortable I've seen you shoot an 81 in a very, very long time.
I was never scrambling. It didn't feel like I was ever in trouble. When I did, and dude, I couldn't putt to save my life.
You doubled the first.
I doubled the first, bogeyed the second, and then I hit that ball out of bounds and had a re-tee on number 16. And I was able to make, I had a look at bogey. I had like a 7-foot putt up the hill because I hit like a 130-yard pitching wedge, did like my same 3/4 shot, stuck it to like 7 or 8 feet, and then just blew it barely by. Like was just like
right on the edge.
Right on the edge so many times.
The new player will fix that problem for you.
Yeah, dude, I'm just really searching for that, dude. And I also missed like a 3.5 footer, which is very like uncharacteristic. I mean, it happens to everyone, but I felt like it was a very easy putt, and I just yanked it.
I couldn't putt to save my life this weekend for a hot minute.
So you shot 91 on Sunday though, which is solid, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there was moments of the game that like the creativity was with a new swing. I'm able to control it a bit more.
Sure.
I was able to punch out a hybrid that rolled it up to the middle of the green. Never was able to do that before.
Dude, you hit a beautiful 6-iron as well under a tree.
Right.
From the rough.
Skipped it like where I was kind of saying to skip it and got pin high.
Put it to like 30 feet.
Right.
Of course, you 3-putted. Really unfortunate. But the fact that you got yourself out of that situation, you would have, I don't know how many times you would have been successful pulling that off.
I probably would have hit a tree, then done something else. So the swing changes here. And when golf, when this does happen and you love golf, you eventually will, play enough where you're starting to realize your problems. You got to write it out.
Yeah.
It's not, I have some friends who take lessons, and almost always they tell me like, oh, I gotten worse since I've taken lessons. Like it always is
gets
like
worse
cloudy before the sun starts to shine.
Yeah.
Like you have to go through the suck phase of golf.
You got to do those thunderstorms to see a little rainbow action,
right. And I think a way to eliminate some of these rainbows is VR golf.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
How sick is that, huh?
I really, really. So there's a thing called Golf Plus that's out right now on an Oculus. And Oculus, when it first came out, was cool for the Golf Plus. You had some courses. You could play on a little remote, like a Wii remote almost. And it was like realistic enough. Well, the new Oculus came out. Golf Plus got an update where they added a bunch of like new, very fun courses.
Wasn't this where wasn't Rory like trying it out?
Rory is now
is he a rep for it?
He's a rep for it.
Oh shit! Okay, I did not know that.
There is a company on the side that will sell you a golf club. It's like just a shaft.
It's like a little attachment, right?
It's a shaft with a real grip. It's a real shaft.
Okay.
And at the bottom of it, they have like a little weight that makes it the same way as a golf club.
Wow, I did not know about this.
And if you attach a Joy-Con to it, it actually makes it a little heavier than golf club.
Okay.
Well, so if you play a little heavier, which I believe we play a slightly heavier than the average golf club weight, it now can almost simulate a practice swing for you. And I was thinking, how much fun would it be if we were bored on a Wednesday night and me and you got 18 holes in at Wolf Creek with our Oculus?
That would be so fun.
And we're able to practice we can be like every shot you're fading, every shot I'm drawing.
And you can also, that's a great way to do it. Like, you never draw the golf ball. Right. I never fade the golf ball. And, like, working on, like, one shot, you have to do it this way because there's no consequences.
Right.
Once you buy the damn thing, then you just have it. Maybe you have to pay for, like, a monthly subscription. Maybe it's $10. Whatever. Like, that's nothing, right?
But you're also getting way more swings.
And like, if you're going through a swing change, like we both are, and we're trying to change something, like that is like one of, maybe it's not the most accurate or best way to do it, but the thing that I struggle with the most when I'm trying to go through a swing change is when that golf ball is in front of me and I need to make the motion that I've been practicing, it suddenly goes out the window sometimes.
Right.
Because now I need to like be accurate and like, you know, I have doubt that I'm going to be able to hit the center of the club face. Like I hit it anyways, whatever. But
right.
But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Because all of that kind of just goes out the window.
But
and
now if you're visualizing a golf ball in front of you with an Oculus on, and people say it's very realistic. Like Mark Crossfield did a video on it, and he was like actually really impressed on how accurate it was.
I thought he did one with the original Oculus.
Yeah, this is now this is Oculus.
Now this is Oculus 2, right?
It's like Oculus 2 with the remote.
See, this is sick.
So I'm 100% going to buy one once the golf club and grip and weight thing does come out. I'm going to get one.
And if you need someone to go in there halvesies with you,
I think you just get your own, so we both can play.
Can you play online?
Yes.
Oh my Lord, have mercy! Really?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you can play from your apartment. I can play from here. What are you doing right now? Nothing. Let's get 18 on Wolf Creek real quick.
Wow, special.
Right.
That's really cool.
It might kill late night hangouts though.
We're playing some golf, or we just like do it. We can like I can bring mine over.
Right.
You bring yours over.
Right.
Whatever, dude.
And, you can play online. I'll have to do some more research to see how it works out.
That's really cool.
But once we can get the golf club attachment, because I don't want it without the golf club attachment.
You got to have it with the golf club attachment.
Because I think they're making a prototype right now.
Okay.
So it will be released. People are talking about it, but that's something I'm really excited to do. So keep that on your radar. I think that's awesome.
Do you know like anytime like release date? Are you like
Golf Plus is out now?
Okay.
It has been for a while. It's going to keep getting better and better. Oculus 2 is out now. It says the product.
Oh wait, sorry, they're separate from one another.
Correct.
I see.
So Oculus is the gaming system.
Got it.
And Golf Plus is the game, which I think is like $50 or $60.
Which is absolutely nothing. If you're talking virtual reality.
Right. The console
insane.
is like $200, $230, I think.
Okay.
So the console is where you get your bang for your buck. And then the attachment, which I assume will be $60 to $80.
Sure, something like that.
And
maybe it's more because maybe it's like a Wii remote type situation where like, you know, it needs to have some sort of sensor in it. Or
what it comes with is a clamp for your remote you put in, and it's just a golf club.
Okay.
So that's it.
Keeping it heavy on the radar, dude. That sounds like such a cool little thing to
just for us to
during
practice.
the week. Maybe we can't make it to the range. Maybe it's raining outside. I don't know. Like there's tons of excuses that you could make up. You know, you just like you obviously can't go to the range at like 10 o'clock at night, and that's usually when we have a little bit of free time to kind of hang out
to practice my game.
Sure.
Yo, let's go play to 18 at Sawgrass, and let's do best ball.
So sick.
And just go and play. Maybe you're going to go on a boys trip, and one of the golf courses is Pinehurst. And you're like, dude, I want to be ready for Pinehurst. I want to know what I'm going to play. And you can
kind
go
of a little
play
bit of a cheat right there.
And go get 18 holes in Pinehurst before you go play.
You can see all the carries.
Right.
You can see like where the trouble is. There's one fucking pop bunker on 7. Fuck that thing. Just like lay up before it.
Right. So you played enough. I think that's awesome. And you know,
and you look super cool when you wear that thing too.
Oh yeah, everyone. I mean, the wife thinks you're so hot. You know, wearing an Oculus. Hey, honey, I'm playing Wolf Creek with Andrew here in 5. I'm in the living room. I'm sure it'll be.
You can't come in here right now because you know how you get when you see your boy.
When you see your boy in his Oculus, I know you get all hot and bothered. Can't touch me. I'm in another dimension right now, playing Pebble Beach with Andrew. You know what was also awesome with golf this weekend was the PGA Championship was going on.
Dude, what an unbelievable tournament. Did you catch a decent amount of it?
I caught a good amount Sunday with you when we were playing. I watched the majority on my phone then. I watched a lot of intros to it, course breakdowns from Friday, Golf Digest. Those are some of my favorites.
Dude, you got to get make it a point this coming Father's Day with the U.S. Open. Get yourself locked in for a good 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to.
You know what you need to do? We just need to watch it together because, like, you can't record You can't. That's the biggest issue, right? You can't record. Like that's the biggest bummer. That's the biggest letdown because what an awesome tournament it was. I watched a fair amount of it. Like I watched probably like 8 to 10 hours of golf. PGA Championship.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Father's Day weekend, we have our 2-man scramble on Saturday.
Great, we can watch some of it then.
Yeah, and and Sunday I'll be with the pop, so he'll probably want to watch. I mean, the course itself was amazing, but the big story for me, which I know people are annoyed about talking about, but just for me was Michael Block. Was just such an unreal story. A local guy from Arroyo Chibuco, one of my favorite courses here in Orange County. He's a club pro there. Ends up getting to playing into this tournament somehow.
Yeah, he qualifies, goes to the amateur events.
Right.
Qualifies for the damn thing. What an unbelievable story, dude. Just sensational what the man was able to do out there. 46 years old, only won $75,000, right? Wasn't that it? He's won one tournament at $75,000.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport, the golf reporter.
For Foreplay Golf.
Yeah, asked him, what's the most amount of money you won at a golf tournament? It was like $75,000 for a club pro amateur tournament that he won.
It was like back in 2014, 13 or something like that.
Made a cool $245,000 for 15th place or something.
And rode his ticket into the next 2024 PGA Championship as well. Secured that thing.
And the fans were riding him too the whole way through.
Unbelievable. And he had to drain that, he had to also go up and down on 18.
Oh my God, what a story.
And just drain the 12-footer. I don't know what it was. It wasn't a 6-footer.
Right, gymnast roll, stay up, and dropped it. Oh my God!
And dude, I think the fans literally willed that golf ball to go in.
I mean,
I was rocking. It was as rowdy as the Waste Management tournament.
It was great to see.
People were screaming his last name.
It was really, really fun to see. I heard some people in the media. Golf media who I kind of look up to say, not many got annoyed with the story because, what's the point? Why are we hearing about this guy who got 15th place? And I don't think it's the golf that he was exhilarating us with. It was the story.
It's the story, man.
Everyone dreams. His whole life is golf. He's a PGA Tour teacher. He's a trainer. He charges 150 hours a session.
I would say, let's take it back even a little bit. Let's take even a golf enthusiast. Let's call ourselves us.
Right.
And let's say us, we were able to somehow become really good over the next 15 years, and we put something together, and we qualify for a damn thing. And we're not even a PGA professional. Great he is. That's even better because he's got more of a stake in golf.
Yeah.
But even a golf just enthusiast that does it as a hobby, that's his. Yeah, he's lucky to call it his job. But that's just such a mountain to climb over, and it's the pinnacle of golf. And you get to play at the PGA Championship, and you get to compete. We got to play around with Justin Rose, and then he got to play around with Rory McIlroy.
I mean, all time.
The dude shed a tear when he heard that he was paired up with Rory McIlroy after Saturday on his round.
That's all you need. I mean, that's as a golfer, you can just die. You legitimately can just hang up your golf clubs and never play another round of golf. You kind of peaked.
Oh, and by the way, he also just dunked one in for a hole-in-one, and Rory McIlroy goes over there and gives him a big old bear hug.
Yeah, all time from Rory to be understanding of in that moment. I mean, the man really just never takes an L. Even when he's supposed to, he just doesn't do it. I just don't think it's possible for Rory to have...
He is a political machine. He is exactly what you want to see out of the PGA Tour. That's why he's on the board. That's why he's a major spokesperson. And there's a reason for that. Is the man is just a true character of humility. He really, really does bring it. And I think what better way to just have Michael Block paired with Rory.
Right.
Just sensational, really.
It was all time. The course was amazing. I think it was one of my favorite courses to visually look at and watch people play. Played great. Scores were good. I just wish there was more heat at the end of a golf tournament for me.
That's exactly it. That's what we're missing right now. There's not a lot of nail-biting tournaments last year was unbelievable, dude. It was the most sudden deaths. It was the most like one-shot victories, I think, in like the last like 30 or 40 years. Gonna butcher that number, but it was obscene. I remember seeing it. They were commentating it all the time, and like it just kept happening week after week after week. And we're missing a little bit of that. I feel
Which is sad because you can't really help it. If the player's playing out of his mind, it is. But I always wonder, what did they do when Tiger was just dominating these people by 10 or 15 strokes? Is it just because he was so electric to watch? Like, how is somebody this good dominating that way? Brooks got the win. Congratulations, Brooks. It was cool to,
he's a hell of a player right now, dude.
Yeah, see him play like that again.
Past Rory McIlroy for most majors.
That's tough for Rory.
He's the 7th player since like the open shot era to get to have 5 majors.
I mean, he's a hell of a player, and it's unfortunate Liv won.
The man's got 8 PGA Tour wins, and 5 of them are majors.
Baller.
I mean,
he knows how to play majors.
He knows how to play majors, and maybe he does. To me, he gives off the appearance of I don't really give 2 shits.
Right.
But
it's just golf. We're not really athletes.
But when he gets down to it, and again, it's major time, he really buckles in and
really shows up.
The dude is. Like, I forgot how good he was, and he really put it on display on Sunday.
I heard a funny story from Barstool Sports. They had an interview with Brooks after the tournament, and they asked him, in the swing documentary, there's a scene where he's like kind of down out on himself, and they asked him why he was like that, and it was funny enough. He said he lost a March Madness bet, and it was a huge one, so he was already in like a bad headspace after that. And then it's funny because if you're a gambler, that would put you in a bad headspace, so that's a little bit more understandable. But great tournament, super fun, great stories. Very excited to hopefully Oak Hill to be in the rotation with some more often, maybe a U.S. Open down the line or something.
That really does. That golf course does bring a huge test to the players, and you're looking at tons of players. There was at one point only 6 players like under par. I don't know how many players actually finished under par because I know the conditions were a little bit easier on Sunday.
Yeah.
I do want to make a quick note on the Saturday gameplay. I thought that was really cool because it was just raining all day, and they just played in the rain all day long.
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the coolest things to watch. I've never really watched a tournament that was, usually it's like thunderstorms, you have to cancel, suspended, whatever. It's just like a light drizzle all day long, and they just have to play in it. I thought the conditions were extremely difficult and windy, rainy. I've just never really watched a tournament when it's been like in those conditions.
Right. Normally they just call it. It looked really challenging. Broke a lot of players, and I get that. Talking about broken players, Laker basketball is officially over as of tonight.
Yeesh.
Lost game 4 to the Nuggets. Bittersweet in a lot of ways. Like, I don't have to watch us keep losing and my hopes and dreams die slowly. Also, just,
because if we won game 4, I got to give it to the Nuggets. We're not winning that game. We're not winning this. We're not rattling off 4 games in a row. There's no chance.
If we would have kept going after our second half motivation, maybe blew them out by 20, I would have thought, maybe we found something there with Tristan Thompson. I think the lineup at the end of the game should have been 80, Tristan Thompson, Hachimura, Austin Reeves, LeBron, and bring Lonnie Walker in the run point.
Yeah.
And just let Schroeder's playing great D. We're just not a well-built team.
What drove me absolutely nuts in game 4 was the fact that we came out in the second half and Schroeder was running and taking all of the shots. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? What did we talk about in halftime? What was our game plan coming out? If it's not LeBron, because he absolutely erupted in the first half and just man played possessed. And I get it. You can't, I'm saying, I don't think that a young player in his prime could maybe do that every single time or at will. It's a long game. And he's taking he's taking a lot of force and a lot of physicality. He's not like Steph Curry where he can just do that all game long.
And he's older.
Yeah, he's banging in the paint. But like, let's not have Schroeder hit like floaters and pull up jumpers. Like, if he gets a pull up three and he needs to take it, there's 7 seconds or less on the shot clock.
Or he's open.
And he's open, great, fire away. But like, if we're running pick and rolls with Schroeder, and we're not going to AD, and I get it. I know AD only had like 14 points, but like, you got to go to your superstar. If it's
like,
not LeBron,
why was it always a screen and roll? Why are we not giving AD the ball on the block? Ever.
And he can shoot from 17 feet. He's like a 50% field goal shooter.
Once this should be the offense. We're not scoring. LeBron's tired. AD on the block. Everyone cut off with AD.
Yeah. And then great. And then like, then you can sub him out if he gets tired. Tristan Thompson comes back in, brings back a ton of energy because the man
Tristan played great.
He was awesome. And I was wondering why he wasn't like, we didn't go to that more. And then I know Rui was also balling out as well. Like, why didn't we go to him?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't we go to like, it was just didn't.
These adjustments should have been made either in game 2.
It just didn't make any sense to me. And I was really.
It was just too late.
Really. Yeah. But like, we played great. And then like, we got to know that Schroeder is the 5th option on the floor.
Right, Schroeder. I don't mind Schroeder.
I don't mind him either. He's like he's great for. Sorry, keep going.
You're good. Playing from where he was playing from. He was playing great defense. He was hitting threes. I don't like him passing open shots because he's a good enough shooter to shoot that. But I agree, Schroeder is not your option 1, 2, or 3. He's like 4 or 5 on that.
So now I'm ride or die with the Heat all day right now.
I can't stand Jokic's brothers at all.
Jokic's brothers?
He has 2 brothers, and they're fucking goons.
Are they in the stands? I've never even
they're like
seen
in the
them.
stands. They were heckling Jack Nicklaus on the way out. Jack Nicklaus basically has dementia at this point.
Jesus.
They've been kicked out of games before for fighting.
Really?
They're like douchey. They're always drunk. They're tied up. They're just goons. And
I've never seen anything like that.
So you got to check out Jokic's brothers at games. They've been historically like bad presses. They also like try to fight an NBA player because they push Jokic. They're just not good dudes.
Okay, so I'm again
ride or die Heat.
Yeah, I'm loving the Cinderella story. It's unbelievable what they're doing over there. So I'm all gung ho on the Heat, and
right.
as you know, you hate the Celtics. I hate the Celtics.
Right. Don't want the Celtics.
Don't want to see them win. I hope they get swept tomorrow.
And I don't want to see the Nuggets either. I don't really care about Jokic and these guys, so
yeah,
screw them.
I do like the way he plays, and so take the brothers out of the equation, and let's just talk basketball. Jokic is an unbelievable basketball player, so
yeah, Jokic is all-time talent. He's super fun to watch.
He deserves a ring. So
yeah, that's fine too. I get that.
But let's just Jimmy Butler, dude,
unreal.
Man's a dog. And also they just have like 7 undrafted players that are playing on that team right now.
They all just fit in the system super well. I watched some press conferences after the Laker game to figure out what LeBron and AD were going to say. It didn't sound great that LeBron was coming back. It sounded more like retirement. He's like, I got a lot of things I need to think about this offseason. Normally LeBron's very quick to be like, yeah, I'll see you guys next season. But it seemed like
I did not see that.
It seemed like he was taking a step slower. And I wouldn't be surprised if he retires and does that strategically. So if his son gets drafted, LeBron gets a full year off for his body to recoup. And whenever his son gets drafted, he gets just assigned the veteran minimum with that team. And every team's taking that deal.
Yeah.
No one's saying no to 40-year-old
Jersey
LeBron
sales
James.
alone. Jersey sales alone just helps you out.
You think LeBron can help you on the bench?
Right.
LeBron's no longer a first option. That's very clear. And he shouldn't even really be your second option. LeBron should be your third option. And it's hard when you're that because you got to be more of a shooter. If he can't shoot, then we got issues. But like the Lakers need a number 1 option. They need, in this offseason,
he can play he can play Aaron Gordon on a team easily.
But
the man still got it. He just dropped like 40 points.
He still has it. I just don't think he can no longer carry a team throughout a season. You're gonna need DeRozan. You're gonna need a Butler. AD is a great Robin. He's not a Batman. I love AD. Everyone's shitting on AD, this and that. I don't think the Lakers go through AD, and they don't want to because I know for a fact if AD caught the ball in the block and they were going to ride or die with AD, he would be fine on scoring. But that's not what they want to do. LeBron needs to be third option. AD needs to be number 2, which means we need to find number 1 option in the offseason. And it's not going to be Austin Reeves. It's not Rui. We need to find like DeMar DeRozan. We need to get like
sure.
We need to get like an elite shooter or a point guard who can absolutely facilitate. I don't want Kyrie.
Where are we going to find that cash, though? Yeah, that's another thing.
Right. I mean, we only have 2 players signed right now, which is LeBron and AD for a huge cap space at 80 mil.
So I guess we can see where this all comes from, but I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that LeBron might be hanging it up. It sounded like I didn't know that he was talking about retiring.
We'll see.
Because all leading up to this, he was always talking about staying in the league, making sure that he wants to play with Bronny, and then like.
Well, what the cool thing is now he can watch Bronny's college season. He can train Bronny. Bronny gets drafted. LeBron just goes wherever Bronny's at.
Yeah.
And now he gets to go play with his son in the NBA.
Makes sense.
And no team saying no to LeBron James after a year full of rest. Like, the dude's going to come back jacked. He's going to be healthier than he's ever going to be healthier. Like, he's just going to be balling. But yeah, man, hell of a podcast from here. We got our last little segment of the 3 silver linings of moving here. 3 silver linings of moving.
And we're going to take off the table of obviously like where you're moving to. Like that's a given, right? We're going to move away from that. And, we're going to find the 3 silver linings from there. Can you start us off this time?
I will. I'm going to start us off. Starting off at number 3 for me. Actually, I'm going to do my honorable mention first of a silver lining.
Oh, you got 4 over here.
My honorable mention is the donuts before we start moving.
Is that a thing?
I love a good baker dozen of donuts when we get into the place.
That'll really get the body primed to lift some heavy things.
Get with a bunch of people, have them have a donut. Everyone loves it. You kind of nibble them as you go. It's great.
Can't stand a damn thing still, but
yeah, I get you.
I'll play along.
I like number 3 here. Everyone's sense of misery when you're moving, or like you're bonding over trauma. Like, everyone hates moving, and there's like a small hint of humor throughout the whole day of small little jokes and jabs at people. And there's like a little animosity, but fun. It's kind of giggly.
Everyone knows the situation, and everyone's a little bit on edge. And yes, there is that little bit of banter.
Number 2, which is my mom's favorite thing and my favorite thing. One of my favorite things about doing it is throwing away all your old shit.
Yep.
I am a huge proponent. If you didn't see it before you packed it, it's now gone.
Well, no, it's currently in the same status.
Right.
That it was.
It's never
gone.
been.
It's never been a thing.
Right. If I pick it up and I go, oh, that's so cool. I forgot about these fucking race cars I collected.
Gone.
Well, see ya.
Yeet.
Like, unless it's in my memory box, I have a box I put all my
that's
things
smart.
I keep that have some sentimental value to me. Concert tickets, movies, whatever. If it's not in that box and I find them, they're gone. And number 1 for me is the shower after the first day of moving into your new place.
That's a great one right there, dude.
Once you're you don't sleep better. You get your new bed set up, everything, all the boxes are in the house.
You just pray to God. 1, you got to have a good shower head. You probably bring your old shower head with you.
I'm already on that. I have people coming in. My dad's helping me set up a new shower head.
There you go.
He's taking out the whatever it is inside the shower head, that like water regulator. There's like a water regulator in your shower head.
Yeah, you take that bitch right on out of there. Yeah,
and it slaps.
It's like Niagara Falls come out of there.
Yeah, and I just always love that feeling of having your bed on the floor with boxes in the house. And everyone's kind of gone, and you and your wife are just exhausted, and you both get to go take a shower, and you come back to bed, and you're like, oh, it's so nice. And you kind of wake up, and you forget you're in your new place. I love it. It's great.
That's a great feeling right there, dude. Mm-hmm. I thought we'd actually have very similar lists, but we don't.
Right.
So I love that. Yet again, here we are. Number 3 for me is the same number 3 for you, though. It is the finding the humor. And it's always, I feel like it's like that bonding experience.
Right.
You feel like you are kind of going through the trenches, you know?
Right.
And for my apartment where I was moving to, 3rd floor.
Oh God.
No elevator.
Right.
And that in itself, I found the most humor moving a couch into the apartment. The most humor. I mean, it was a terrible experience, but
Awful.
it is forever ingrained in my memory getting a couch up there.
It's impossible to. I helped Chris move out of your 3rd story floor, and you take injuries going down 3 flights.
You're getting bruised up. Your shins are all different colors.
Right.
You're catching just fucking shells just right to the middle of the shin. And let me tell you, you're just getting kicked right in the shin. Basically, it's that bad.
Right.
But there's some sick humor to that. And you know what other fun little tangent and fun story we want to talk about too is when we were moving into Loma and we were helping Eric and Jason move in.
Oh yeah.
Remember how we had to configure the couch? So basically we had this like little twisty, windy staircase that was only like 6 steps. Then you had to turn around. Then it was like a brick wall because it was another 6 steps going the other way. And there was there was another story above you. So there's also it was just a really inefficient thing to like, you can't get anything in and out of there. Like you have to move a fridge. Like that's kind of tough too. But any large object. And so Eric brings his like 6-seater couch.
Yeah, 6-sectional, huge couch.
Huge. And so the one side is like 4 long, I think, and it's massive. And so we try like every freaking angle going up and down that thing. Remember how we like ended up pulling it up into the place?
Right. So it's like we're on the 2nd story. It's not a tall 2nd story. You can basically jump up and slap the bottom half of the.
Yeah, we're talking like 8-9 feet.
Right. It's not the tallest 2nd story in the world. And it's all open air, and it's like a quad. The apartment building is built like you're in a gladiator stadium, where there's like a quad. You look out.
The weirdest apartment building ever.
And you basically, me and you stood at the bottom of it and passed this couch up to 2 other people on the 2nd floor who pulled it up and rested it on the rail while we ran up the stairs and we all pulled the couch in from the rail.
Yep.
Oh
my God, that was so fun.
Stuff.
So yes, that is my number 3 for me. My number 2, and this is something I feel like could easily be number 1, and that is the lunchtime sandwich break that you get. That is just all time. Yeah. Like for me, like you get halfway and then you're like getting into your new place and you get like, I always get like Jersey Mike's delivered. Mm-hmm. And that's our thing. We get Jersey Mike's, you get like a Sprite or like a Gatorade, and you're always, this is another thing too, you're always moving in the summer. Never moving in the winter.
Yeah, I don't know why it is. You're right.
Always moving in the summer. And so, and like the AC is like not quite working yet, but like you just sit down on the carpet or the wood floor or like a little table you have or whatever, and you just like chill out. And like mostly everyone just talks about nothing actually in those given moments. But like it's that like calm before the second half of the storm, but you're like, we're halfway there.
You're almost wrapping it up.
Yeah. And that sandwich just hits really hard.
Uh-huh.
So that's my number 2 there for me. And then number 1 is just like the decluttering of like everything.
Yeah.
It's just going through all the shit. I used to not like this actually, and you turned me on to it. And it's just like, all the stuff that you like thought you like lost, you're coming up on like all your like your, this memory, whatever, great, but then it's also in the trash. And then you're just like, I don't understand like how you like can acquire so much shit in like 2 or 3 years, like when you're living in a place.
I'm not talking about throwing photos away that mean something. I'm talking like you just the mundane weird things that you collect.
Just knickknacks. Yeah.
Right. And you're just like, why? And then you're like, oh, I don't really know what this is. And you just kind of keep it. But yeah, buddy.
So I've become much more cognizant of like purchasing. I've been trying to like, help Katie, and us as a team. Like, let's like, what is that really doing? Like, why do we need to buy that? So,
right.
Anyways, that's my number 1 because it's also a little bit more of a we don't need that. We don't need to buy that, and it's one of those things. I feel like it's kind of a good life lesson or, minimalist. I keep saying I would love to be a minimalist whenever I move, but like let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
No.
Not with our wives.
No.
Awesome pod, buddy.
Beautiful stuff.
Shout out to the normal crew here, Jake for all our thumbnails, Madison for helping us out with social, and our new editor here, Devin Feldman. Hit him up on Instagram. They're all going to be shouted out on the podcast and on the description of these videos. You got anything for the people?
Little update for you all. I backed out of Red Dead Redemption 2.
You backed out?
Can't get into it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. I don't have enough time. Not going to do it. But because also the other reason is the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom just came out. So yeah, I'm jumping off the train. Red Dead 2. I didn't provide any updates for you all because I, quite frankly, didn't really get anywhere, and it wasn't really dragging me in. It was too much. To wait, if I had 10 hours or 15 hours a week to play, I'm all in.
Right.
Because that would be, all the time in the world. But updates.
I think it's the Oculus 2.
Oculus 2 and Zelda.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be headed. So updates coming your way. Good stuff here tonight, buddy. Good shout outs. Another hell of a podcast, dude. That's what I got for the people.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, you guys know the drill.
You guys know what's going on here. Just a reminder, we're in the Cabbage, and keep swinging.